gonna die. I'm just gonna fantasize forever. Forever and a day.
Welcome to the IDP show. I'm your host, Josh Raymer, joined in the Soul Shack tonight. On my right, Adam Markham. On my left, Bobby Reynolds. Gentlemen, how are we this evening?
Doing very well, mate.
Oh, it's going to be that kind of show, huh, Bobby?
Starting early.
Starting early. Beers are flowing. It's a beautiful day here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Addy, I think you're going to be playing some golf tomorrow. Let's just go ahead and get that scratched off the bingo card.
Yes, sir. It's the last nice day of really the month, it seems. It looks like it's going to get a little chilly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, until like 2 weeks from now when it's back up to 75.
Yeah. Yeah, I say chilly. It's like it's going to be like in the 50s.
Yeah.
People up north are angry right now.
Kyle B is literally swimming through 8 feet of snow to get to his car.
Yeah. Well, we're cold-blooded down here.
It's true. It's true, Bubba. We're not built for that type of weather.
You gonna come deer hunt with me this weekend, Josh?
Oh, God, no. No.
Yeah?
Don't hunt. Don't fish. Just don't have the patience.
Still loving every day, though. Sorry, y'all aren't Luke Bryan, guys. Hunting, fishing.
Wasn't he on the Manning cast last night?
Oh, was he? Yeah, they're hosting the, CMAs or ESPYs together? Some award show.
Yeah.
I believe you.
Congrats to Peyton. Maybe he'll be the next Indianapolis Colts head coach. Who knows? We'll talk about it. I tried to get a little video clip from Connor to play on tonight's episode, and he had something going on. I was like, I'll just find a clip of someone crying for like 30 minutes on a loop and just say that was you.
I do want to talk more about that, but we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get into it because, trust me, there is nothing to talk about from that Colts-Patriots game, so we can just get to the good, juicy stuff that has Colts fans SMDHing right now. But welcome in. We're glad you're here. This is the Week 9 recap episode. Hope you all enjoyed the episode with Sig last week. We talked IDP trades. Go check out the episode and the video if you haven't already. We're adopting a similar format here for our YouTube episodes on these weekly recaps. So make sure you're subscribed over on the YouTubes and the website, theidpshow.com. We had a nice little IDP short, little clip of Sig from the episode go out today. So download the Substack app if you're subscribed to the website. You get the notifications. It's an awesome app, very user-friendly. They've got some really cool features rolling out over there that I'm excited to try out here in the very near future. But gentlemen, Week 9, not the best looking slate of games on paper, but we actually had some pretty fun ball games, Bobo.
Yeah, it was a good weekend of football. Man, Mahomes is fun to watch.
He sure is.
I saw that they moved him next week to Herbert Mahomes Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, they flexed. Yeah, they flexed him in.
They're milking Mahomes pretty hard this year. It seems like.
Yeah, there's not a lot of offensive firepower that you can really, especially if Josh Allen's elbow is messed up now.
Yeah.
That's no bueno.
He did throw a 7-yard bomb.
I was gonna say, I don't know how much adrenaline played into that, but yeah, I think it was still good enough to uncork a pass that most human beings could not complete.
Yeah, that's concerning. That could derail the season for sure.
Could. Yeah.
Did he get hurt early on in that game?
It was late.
Okay, so the Jets just kind of beat him with a healthy Josh Allen. I didn't watch much of it.
Yeah, Josh Allen just played like crap.
That Jets defense is also really good. We're going to talk about it. A lot of good young pieces on that defense.
Garrett Wilson looks really good.
Yeah. Zach Wilson, kind of interesting. Someone pointed out, I think it was Mike Sando on the Athletic Football Show, said they moved Mike White up to the backup. Kind of feels a little similar to what happened with Sam Ehlinger moving up to the backup spot in front of Nick Foles right before they benched Matt Ryan. So kind of makes me wonder if a similar move might be coming down the pipe for Gang Green. But hey, if you're a Jets fan, you're loving this season.
Who's your backup here, me or Adam?
It's actually it's John Mack. So John knows that. This is not news. All right, well, let's get into the Week 9 slate of games. We're going to go through every matchup, hit on some of the top scorers, the big names, the underperformers. Yes, Addy.
Old Mackey thought he'd sneak in a little trade tonight.
Did he?
Tried to take advantage of me.
Oh, he tried to get you in your weakened state?
I seen what you done. I didn't like it. I didn't like it one bit. You know what you done.
Macri is just SMDHing right now because that's all we can do.
Homeboy tried to get Zaven Collins off me.
What?
Come on, bro.
Now.
One just for a 2023 third. Come on, bruh.
He knows you're
We're trying to throw in Vita Vea like I give a damn about him. Come on, bruh.
You're the creator of the ZVNSZN hashtag. He has to know that that's at least a second-round pick right there, right?
Shit, boy.
Well, let's get into it before we get further off the rails here, boys. And we're going to start off with the Thursday night football game. Eagles 29, Texans 17. Very interesting to me. We had Philadelphia and Houston playing in the NFL and in the World Series on the same night. I don't know if that's ever happened before.
That's right.
Just kind of found that interesting.
Yeah, I was out here watching it.
That you were
The very end of it.
You were doing the preview sode with Johnny the Greek.
Do you guys have any opinion on the World Series stuff? Kind of where the Astros back in it after cheating and all that stuff, and people are just like,
Yeah, I don't like that the Astros won. I was rooting for the Phillies, which is weird. I don't typically root for like Philadelphia teams, but
yeah, they cheated bad.
Yeah, over the Astros, I pretty much will take anyone short of like Nazi Germany against the Astros in the World Series.
It also wasn't that long ago. It's not like it was a decade ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago, right?
Yeah, this was pretty recent.
Yeah.
I didn't watch any of the World Series. So.
I actually watched just about every game. Just something to have on in the background.
Sure.
I mean, it's fine. It's sports.
People move on very quickly in sports.
Yeah.
People are going to forget all about Deshaun Watson and being a piece here in a few weeks.
Even when Sean Payton was on last night, I was like, what if they bring up like Bountygate?
Yeah.
That happened. How long ago was that? That was probably 10 years ago.
Well, they made a movie about it. They already have a Netflix movie about this with Kevin James as Sean Payton.
People forget.
How does Sean Payton feel about that? Probably not great. So Eagles 29, Texans 17. Addy, let's show some love for two underrated IDPs, CJ, Deuce, Gardner, Johnson, and Jerry Hughes. Not the flashiest names in the world, but they have been getting it done for IDP here recently.
Yeah, I big fan of both. I mean, Jerry Hughes has always been really good as far as pressures go. Just didn't really get a shot there in Buffalo. We know how much they like to use the rotations, but anyway, he just wasn't really getting his fair shake, especially when you see how he's producing now. But yeah, man, CJ Gardner Johnson, let's go. I mean, he is. I looked. I think he's averaging like 25 points over his last 4 games.
One of your favorites.
Yeah. So I mean, he's he's listed as a cornerback in most leagues, even though he is playing that safety role for Philly. But yeah, both those guys have been amazing this year. Jerry Hughes. I mean, I'd say a lot of people probably got tired of him and dropped him.
Yep.
Hopefully he held on because I mean, I think once he's clocking in at like defensive end 11 right now in RSO. I mean, they're just hard to find. It's hard to find, edge. Most edge guys are going to be inconsistent. They're going to give weeks of 0 to 5 points. That they're going to do that half of their games. But yeah, I mean,
especially with Jonathan Greenard going to IR a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
gives guys like
he's really stepped up.
Yep. Let's talk about Javon Hargrave also. So not only did he have an insane week with 7 tackles and 3 sacks.
3 sacks.
The week before, he had 8 tackles, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble. So here we are in a 2-week stretch of 5 sacks for Javon Hargrave.
That SOB.
Yeah.
I held him for 6 weeks.
And you dropped him?
And I dropped him. And guess who picked him up?
Macri.
Was it Macri?
Oh, yeah.
That's why he's trying to give you Vita Vea now. It's like a little, here you go, little bone thrown out to Addy.
What do you think?
Shivering in the streets.
What do you think, Josh, about Robert Quinn? And we're gonna see some life from Quinn?
I think what will be the way we'll see Quinn deployed is he'll be sprinkled in as like the relief pitcher come the playoffs. I think they are going to probably sit this guy. They've got a really solid defensive line, and they're just going to unleash this guy near the end. Like, hey, pure pass rushing situations, you're just going to go in there, give us like 20 to 30% of snaps a game, maybe more, kind of like a poor man's Von Miller type of thing, right? Where we're just going to unleash you in certain games. I don't think he's going to be relevant for IDP literally at all. But for the Eagles, I think this is a really nice kind of sprinkling in of a a player with talent. We just think he's kind of been coasting, and I can't blame him on that just trash Bears team. But yeah, I don't think he's going to be relevant for IDP.
Christian Harris is kind of on the up a little bit as well.
Yeah, 88% of snaps, along with his Christian bro, Christian Kirksey.
Mm-hmm. Are y'all? Is it weird to y'all that Nakobe Dean is still not playing that much?
No, I mean those Philadelphia linebackers have been good.
I agree.
Yeah, and I mean Philly's been good. I mean, if it ain't
why change it?
Yeah, if it ain't broke.
I guess so, but I just think you would want to get him more integrated than 2% of snaps.
They will though. You know, both those guys are expiring. I believe T.J. Edwards and Kaiser White was only on a 1-year deal. So I mean, it just ain't going to be this year.
Yeah,
unless something happens.
He's a great buy low because nobody's thinking about Nakobe Dean right now. I mean, he's an afterthought. 2% of snaps.
He'll definitely get a shot.
Yeah, absolutely. So next game we got here, fellas, Chargers 20, Falcons 17. There was some shenanigans in this game. I was trying to keep up with it as best I could this Sunday, but it was like these two teams that historically have shot themselves in the foot. They didn't have any feet left to shoot because it was just one just crazy, outrageous gaffe after another, but Chargers squeak out the 2017 win on a late field goal. I think the kicker's name was Dicker. Dicker the kicker, I believe. Right. Yeah, so, but Addy, if you wonder why we say linebacker is replaceable, look no further than Drew Tranquil's 16.53 points per game average, good for LB9 by Big 3 scoring, and Rashaan Evans' 14.37 points per game average, good for linebacker 10. This is the definition of you can find it on the waiver wire.
I've got one better for you, Josh.
Oh, please.
Since week 6 in points per game, Drew Tranquil is number 1. 22 points per game since week 6.
Look at that log. It's impressive.
It's very impressive. And then you mentioned Rashaan Evans. Rashaan Evans is 7th on that list over his last 4.
I bet if we went back and looked at that ADP, those guys were probably going outside the top 25 to 30 maybe.
Easily.
40 to 50.
Yeah. I didn't want to go too crazy, but it felt like they were probably, essentially afterthoughts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and a lot of that ADP, we were in there drafting, but, in a lot of those, after 25, it's just kind of like, all right, who do you like at this point? Mm-hmm. You kind of throw, we have ranks and we have thoughts and we have ideas, but really you're hoping on health at that point and you're just hoping on opportunity. Tranquil man, keep your fingers crossed.
Folks, while we're thinking of it, we are going to be hard and heavy into the best balls this year.
That's right.
We're going to be hitting them hard as soon as the season ends.
Yep.
We're hoping to get like 50 of these things in.
Stick around. We're probably going to do close to, I would say, like 5, 6, 7 per month, starting as soon as the season is over. So subscribe to the website, theidpshow.com. Our subscribers will get early access to all the best balls. So if you want to plug in and get that kind of head start over your league mates, the best way to do that is through Best Ball. We do them on Sleeper. It's draft and done. And like Eddie said, we are going to be hammering the best ball drafts once the season is over, so stick around.
And seriously,
what else do we have to do?
It's worth saying again. I know we say this a lot, and Josh is really eloquent in doing so, but the website. Sub the website, because there's so much good stuff there right now. If you can't deal with Twitter, if you can't, wade through all the muck and the mire, waiver wire articles, regular articles, Adams ranks. We've got a ton of stuff over there. And I think you even tweeted about that last week, Josh, that's where the three of us are going to be here.
That's where we're going to be living
more often.
So come hang out with us.
Yeah, and even if you don't want to pay, you're still going to get tons of good content.
That we've really tried to up the amount of free content. Like the IDP shorts are going out to all our subscribers. We've got a great regular weekly article, a start-sit article from our boy Jake Colhagen over at Reality Sports Online that goes out every week now. So check it out.
It's fire.
It's going to give you early access to these best ball drafts come the off season. But I'll be curious to see where these guys fall because, Rashaan Evans, do we feel good about?
Yeah, how do you guys feel about them in Dynasty?
I feel better probably about Tranquil, but I will say Athletic Football Show, Sando was talking, there's maybe some negative buzz around Brandon Staley. If the Chargers don't make the playoffs, he could be out the door.
Wow.
So that gives me pause just about really
2 years.
I know.
The reasoning was because of the spending because of the expectations, if this team misses the playoffs, and especially if this defense, which is like bottom 8 in EPA per play, like ranks 24th.
They don't have Joey Bosa out there, you know.
I think the point being, like, you are a
Jackson got
defensive coach. Like, can you not coach these guys up to at least be like league average? And that's also roster construction. Their first 53-man roster had 2 edge rushers, Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. That's it.
Wow.
You wonder why Kyle Van Noy is playing every snap in place of Joey Bosa? It's because they didn't have anyone else on the roster.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of GM and coach malfeasance there in building that roster, but that gives me a little bit of pause on Drew Tranquil, but I probably feel better about him dynasty-wise.
Offensively, though, we just talked about it. I mean, Herbert's, safety blanket in Keenan hasn't played all year. Mike Williams is now banged up. I don't know. I can see both sides of that. I can see where the defense definitely does suck and the spending kind of seems weird, but
they've been so unlucky just forever for the last 10
That's just
years.
the Chargers. They're freaking cursed.
yeah.
They really are.
So let's move now to speaking of teams that are in a tailspin. The Lions get the 15-9 win over the hapless Packers. Let's just pour one out for Kyle B. We are all Kyle belly fuel tonight, pouring one out for Rashaan Gary, season-ending ACL tear. Addy, this sucks because Rashaan Gary was having a fantastic season, and now he's on the shelf for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's such a shame. I mean, this was a guy that was just surging in the ranks. I mean, points per game wise, he's the top 10 option this year. I mean, he was great last year, but he's just continuing to follow through and level up every season. And, to tear his ACL, man, that really hurts the momentum.
This late in the season, too. That's not great for starting the next season.
Exactly. Think about Chase Young, right? This happened last year, and Chase Young ain't out there right now.
Still not back.
So I think, there was a period where everyone was really optimistic about ACL injuries. It was like, oh, ACL, no big deal. Everyone comes back in 9 months now and it's better than ever. It's like, no, that's not the case. For
Everyone
the most part.
is unique.
Yeah, and it usually takes like 1.5 to 2 years before that player is himself again. So I guess what I'm thinking, boys, where does this drop him in Dynasty? Because, I mean, this was a guy that was like edge 7, 8 for me. How far does he fall?
Well, Bobo, I'll give you the solo cam here because it was one of your flag plants. So where does this knock Rashaan Gary down now for you?
Well, so not only was he one of my flag plants, top 12 DL on the season.
You sold him right before.
By the way, that's a dub, folks. I mean, we care about points per game over here. All right? That's a dub. Just like Josie Jewell's going to be a dub.
Hey, I was thinking today we need to check in on our flag plans because 2 of mine are doing okay. I think
Mine are pretty solid.
Daniil Hunter has a chance at top
Hell yeah.
6, and David Long has a chance at top 12 LB. Now, Nick Cross, probably not going to happen unless all the safeties in Indianapolis die tragically. But yes, Bobo, sorry. You sold Rashaan Gary right
I also lost
before the injury, right?
I lost Xavier McKinney today also. That was another one of my flag plants.
Oh, my
ATV
God,
accident.
yeah.
Hate to see it.
What was my last one?
How do you not have it in the contract where it's like, if you get on an ATV, we will tranquilize you and drag you back to the facility? Like, get off the ATV.
Here's what I'll say real quick. We'll play just a little baby game.
I don't know if he can do it.
No.
You can't say that, Bobby.
Little baby one?
Little baby, who'd you get?
So
There you go.
I did move Rashaan Gary right after his ACL injury. Traded Rashaan Gary and Khalil Herbert, and Boomerang came back. Isaiah Simmons, a 24 second and a 24 third. Exactly what Adam is saying here. The ACLs, everybody wants to talk about kind of the same thing that everybody was blabbering about in the offseason. Cam Akers is going to be fine. He has, changed the game on these Achilles. No, he hasn't. ACLs are still a difficult injury to come back off of. Achilles are really horrible, especially for running backs. And for Rashaan Gary, I mean, this is going to be a really difficult thing. Here we are in week 9. There's a possibility that we're week 9 in 2023 and we still don't see Rashaan Gary. So I hope he comes back. He's still a young dude, exactly like Adam's saying. The the ceiling is still really high. It's just probably going to be 2024 before we see maybe a reliable Rashaan Gary again.
I agree. And I think that's what gives me the most optimism is the fact that we've talked about before, edge is a really shallow position.
Yeah.
We did that DL only best ball draft on Sleeper, and it was incredible how quick the fall off happened. So I don't think I'm dropping him down outside of the teens. I don't think he's fallen into like the 20s for me. Maybe you drop him down like 10 spots.
Rashan Gary, Chase Young, who you want?
I mean, Chase Young, probably just because he's coming back sooner from the injury and he's younger, right? He's younger than Rashaan Gary.
Quiddy Pay,
Oh, my gosh.
Rashan Gary.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Probably going Quiddy Pay.
What in the world?
I have a little sunk cost bias.
You know what it is.
I got Quiddy on the main squad, but I think Quiddy looked good this week.
Trayvon Walker or Rashaan Gary?
Probably Trayvon, just dynasty because he's so young. I mean, really,
So what we're saying here is Rashawn's free falling.
yeah. I mean, it's tough.
Greg Rousseau.
I mean, anyone that's healthy and playing right now. I mean, Chase
Bradley
Young's.
Chubb.
It's going to be It's hard
Dwayne
right
Smoot.
now because I'm thinking, who am I going to get a contribution from the rest of this
That's true.
season and the start of next season?
Yeah.
So it's hard right now in the wake of this injury to put him over anyone that's healthy.
Yeah, IDP value is, we talk about this all the time, it's unstable anyway. So when you start adding in ACLs and these major injuries into the mix, it's just not good. It's
Especially-
not good for value.
And if you're playing true position, there's a lot of like edges anyways.
Yeah.
There's a lot more guys to go get. Man, that's sad though. Rashaan Gary, he was like top 5 for me.
Yeah, pour one out.
Yeah, he really was.
We
He
should
was-
mention some other developments here. Quay Walker, not surprisingly, played 100% of snaps with Devondre Campbell out. Malcolm Rodriguez got banged up, only 26% of snaps. Old discount Thor, Alex Anzalone, still playing 95% of snaps. It was Derek Barnes that subbed in for Malcolm Rodriguez and got 68% of snaps and scored 25.8 points. So not bad. If Barnes is out there on your waiver and the Rodriguez injury is serious, might not be a bad pickup if you need a little bit of help, bye weeks, injuries, whatever. But yeah, that was the big story, Rashaan Gary. Sorry, Kyle B. Hopefully brighter days ahead for Rashaan Gary, but a rough road back to recovery here.
Kirby Joseph looking great.
Yes, he did.
Scoring well on PFF as well. So
34.9 points on 64% of snaps. One of our highest scores of the week.
So it seems like they have found a nice little duo there with Kirby Joseph and Deshaun Elliott. I mean, sucks for Tracy Walker. He would have been in the mix as well. But, yeah, they got some depth there at safety.
A lot of NFL football left to play for the Packers.
Man, it's grim. It's getting dark early for the
Rodgers is done after this year.
I think I would bet all the money I had in the bank that he is done.
What are the odds we start seeing Jordan Love this year?
I think there's a good chance, man, because they can't sit well with anyone in that building that Rodgers goes on McAfee and pretty much dogs everyone and then goes out and has that game.
Dude, there is
that game.
It was so bad though because not only did Dobbs get hurt on the first play, I think that's a high ankle sprain. Christian Watson, I think, is hurt again also. So now you're rolling out Alan Lazard. Randall Cobb is still hurt. Sammy Watkins was running the wrong route. It almost looked like every time Rodgers was looking his way. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. I'm surprised they only lost by 6.
Yeah, he has. I mean, he does have a point. I mean, that is maybe the worst wide receiver room in the league. I'm trying to think who's worse.
It was a hypothetical question that Robert Mays posed
Houston?
of like, would the Packers
Yeah, that's
and the Raiders go back and basically nullify that Devontae Adams trade if they could? Because the Raiders are sitting there like, my God, we gave up all this draft capital for this guy. Our team sucks. Our coach is probably getting fired this season.
Yeah, who's behind Derek Carr?
Yeah, like it's the Packers would be better off with Devontae. The Raiders would be better off just accepting that they're a below average team and trying to rebuild, not doing this like fake lipstick on a pig. Look
Josh
at us.
McDaniels probably isn't a good head coach.
I think he's getting fired
Yeah.
before the end of the season.
There was a
Wow.
tweet the other
I
day.
really do.
It said something like, "I'm doubting that Josh McDaniels gets a third tryout at
No,
14."
I think he's been called in to talk with Mark Davis, the owner, 3 different times. Like 2 or 3 different times this season.
Does he go back to New England?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's what all of them. They just go
Like Patricia.
crawling back to Belichick.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe
Slumped
Judge
over.
and
Old pencil boy.
Pencil
Hey,
boy.
Daddy.
Yes, I will lick your boots, Father. Just give me a job.
What do you think historically? Like, you go back a decade or 2 decades, and you have a new head coach. Like, it's probably pretty rare for that head coach to lose his job in a year.
It does not happen very often that you get fired within your first season.
But I'm saying, like, even like 1990, you go back a couple decades, like, a guy's going to keep a job for 3 years. They're going to see what they have.
Yes, usually you get at least 3 years.
It seems
but
like
it does
that,
happen.
That leash is getting real short.
I mean, just last year, David Culley, one and done. I always think of Jim Tom Sula, the guy, I think who followed up Chip Kelly, but he was one and done. I mean, there's Steve Wilkes, I think, was one and done with the Cardinals recently.
I know it's all context specific, but if you're a new head coach in the NFL, are you, because when Brandon Staley came in with the Chargers, he basically said, okay, I guess we're in a window and we're going to go for it. So let's go get some pieces. Or do you play it, a different way? You can almost say the same thing for the head coach down in Miami. I mean, they went out and got Tyreek Hill. They've brought in all his running backs. Now they went out and got Bradley Chubb. They're not necessarily – they were in a different situation because they had a lot of picks and probably still have a lot of picks. But I don't know if you give me the keys to the castle today. I don't know what type of coach I would be. I don't know if I'm looking for the next 5 years or if I'm like, I got Justin Herbert. I probably should run for it here. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it just the first thing I'm asking the owner and the general manager is, what's your definition of success? Do you want us to make the playoffs in year one? Or is this a rebuild situation where you maybe want to see a winning record and maybe a playoff berth in like year 3? Because if we can get on the same page, then cool. But otherwise, if I'm going in thinking this is a rebuild and you expect to make the playoffs in year 1, that's not a situation that I'm going to take on. Because I'm not going to try to hitch my wagon to a team where the owner's thinking one thing, the GM's thinking another, and here I am doing
Whatever.
this thing that I thought was the plan is actually not the plan.
a good point.
That's why they talk about organizational alignment, owner, GM, coach, and quarterback, kind of all being in alignment up the spine of your organization. That's why it's important. Because if you're all on different pages, then that's how people end up getting fired, and you're the Jets or the Browns or whatever, and you're mired in like 3 decades of misery.
So essentially what you're saying is if you take over an orphan team in Dynasty, that's how you would manage it, Josh. You get the owner, the GM, and the coach all in line.
I'm like, what do
Ask
y'all
'em,
want this team to be?
what is success,
Y'all
guys?
want me to sell off these pieces? I
Adam
will.
would just come into the NFL and be like, you know what? I'm going to be all 3.
We're going to be swaggy as hell.
3-1.
We're speaking of which, your QB, Addy. We'll get to it, but Kirk's having a little bit of a renaissance this season, and it's been fun to watch. But let's talk about a quarterback that is also having a little bit of a resurgence this year, and you love to see it. Speaking of the Dolphins, Tua Tagovailoa has looked good this year, and so has Justin Fields, Bobo. The Bears might not have a lot to hang their hat on. They go down to the Dolphins 32-35 here, but was this Justin Fields' coming out party?
Let's take it easy taking a lap on Justin Fields. Just quite yet.
Set the single game record for rushing, right, by a quarterback?
178 yards.
Yeah,
Dude, looked so good.
rushing's pretty cool, but we still got to be able
You
to
guys
throw
ever
the
heard
ball.
of passing?
You got to be able to throw the ball in the NFL. I don't know. I think it's cool. Justin Fields is fine. His run.
Are you just trying to punk Nico right now?
No.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
Sneak's definitely not listening to this, but I don't know. I'm not quite there yet. He has a cool deep ball. I don't know. He's got Claypool and Mooney now. It's fine, but I still need to see more. I still need to see some W's,
That's the measuring stick for this season for Chicago, I think, is what does Justin Fields look like? And then, because
Keep him healthy, too.
Yeah, keep him upright. I think Ryan Poles is going about this the right way. Tear it down, get picks, and then go get some weapons. Get an offensive line. Get some wide receivers for your young quarterback. But
I guess he did throw 3 touchdowns last week.
he was good, man.
They've made an effort to, do what he does best. I mean,
Yes.
they've been taking pages out of Baltimore, what they do with Lamar. And, you can see he's playing much better. The added receiver for him. I mean, that's what they have to do. So, I mean.
There was a good discussion. I hadn't really thought about it. Would y'all rather have a second-round pick next year or Chase Claypool?
Second-round pick. That was way too much.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of an overpay.
You know, you just got a second, giving up Roquan. What were we doing going to acquire Chase Claypool? It's just
And Claypool
bad.
was probably wasn't even a second himself.
I would have given maybe a fourth for Claypool.
I don't know. There's going to be probably better wide receivers in the second round.
But I'm
Look
saying,
at some
like,
of those second-round wide receivers.
He may have been in the second. I don't remember what he was.
I think coming out too, his size was so weird that people were kind of like, we don't know if he'll play tight end or wide receiver in the NFL, if I'm remembering that correctly.
I think you're right.
But yeah, I don't know. Fields is
Yeah,
cool.
second round of the 2020 NFL draft.
And if you go back to the Chris Wessling days, Justin Fields is better than Andy Dalton, the Prime Meridian. I mean, so you're gonna keep Fields. Fields is going to be the franchise quarterback.
He's shown
there.
you enough flashes.
Absolutely.
I'm on record saying I thought Fields would be the best of this 2021 quarterback class. Better than Lawrence, better than Mac Jones.
We're gonna have to pull them
better than
receipts.
Zach Wilson.
I don't remember that at all.
That was my take because it just seemed like
You're talking about fantasy football, Josh.
I thought fantasy football and for real football as well because of the rushing upside, and that's what we're seeing. I think he's QB1 through like the last 4 or 5 weeks in fantasy football.
I will say, I looked the other day, and since week 3, he has only gained more fantasy points every week. So for the past 6 weeks,
Rushing is overweighted for quarterbacks,
Correct.
but it's because it's pretty sick when quarterbacks can do that. Like, I think it should be overweighted.
Yeah.
Speaking of overweighted, there was not a lot of overweight in terms of the IDP scoring in this game. The highest score for the Bears was 9.5 points, if that tells you anything. Highest score for the Dolphins, Melvin Ingram. The important note here, Addy, we wondered how the edge rotation would shake out with Bradley Chubb coming to Miami on that big new fat contract. 73% of snaps for Chubb and 82% for Jalen Phillips. So that seems to be the rotation there.
Like best friend of the show, Sigmund Bloom would say, rational coaching. We love to see it. They're playing their best players. Very nice. I think the other most important note is that Mr. Jack Sanborn looks like he's going to be the guy benefiting the most from Roquan leaving.
Yeah, 88% of snaps.
And he was solid. 7 tackles. I mean, if you watch the game, like he looked like one of their he was, making the tackles and stuff, which doesn't mean he's good, but yeah, he's going to be productive for IDP.
Did you roll him out there? I heard you talking to Johnny.
I did.
You might have to roll him out there.
I did roll him out there this week. He got me 9 to 10 points, which I'll take that.
That's not bad.
LB4.
From a little dart throw LB. But yeah, we don't have to spend any more time on this game because this was horrifically low scoring in terms of IDP.
Nicholas Morrow's been a bit of a bum this year, considering like his opportunity and everything. Like he's been really underwhelming. He got a ton of hype in the offseason.
You got outscored by old Jack Sanborn.
Yeah.
I mean, on 100% of snaps. So playing more snaps scored fewer points. So yeah, Nicholas Morrow, it feels like one of those guys like a Rashaan Evans that should be better given the opportunity, or Zaire Franklin,
I got a hard question for you.
Ooh, I love hard questions.
Is Javon Holland a good sell right now?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Anytime you can sell a safety, right?
What are you acquiring? What do you want back for Javon Holland?
Probably 3 or 4 firsts. I mean, nothing crazy.
Sounds about right.
You're not getting a second.
Yeah, I was going to say a second, but I don't think you're getting it. I would take a third plus maybe a 2024 pick.
Like
Maybe
a fifth.
Yeah, like just a little.
Third and a fifth.
Throw me a little something extra because third doesn't feel like enough.
Yeah, I think if you can get that, you should cash out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he's playing primarily a little bit deeper.
Yeah, for sure.
But man, he's fun.
They use him
Good
a lot
player.
of different ways. He is a good player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so let's talk about another game here that had two teams kind of at the bottom of the league swirling the toilet. We mentioned one of them earlier. Jaguars get the 27-20 win over the Las Vegas Raiders. Headline for this game, Addy, B-Mart is now open for business as Double D heads to IR and Jonathan Abram heads to a new team. I love writing these headlines when it involves Double D. But we wondered if Blake Martinez would be relevant for IDP. And with Double D going on IR, Addy, his time has arrived.
Yeah, welcome back. He how did he do? He had 12.25 points, so he racked up some tackles.
91% of snaps.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, so yeah, if he's out there on the waiver, he's probably the waiver pickup of the week. I'd
Absolutely.
say.
Yep.
Him and Sanborn. So Yeah.
Jack Sanborn. It just sounds like like a Michael Clancy character in like a spy novel.
Yeah.
Jack Sanborn.
And Blake.
Blake's here as well. Yeah, I don't know about Blake, but Jack Sanborn. It's just a great spy name. But yeah,
Love
B-Mart.
spies.
Dude.
It's not good, Bobo, as we know, but good for your IDP lineups. I think the answer is yes, given this new opportunity.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. You are insane.
No,
You
it's
have
not.
some real anti-B-Mart bias going on here. You need to deal with.
Don't roster B-Mart. Please just trade him to some other hopeless fool thinking that Blake Martinez is going to return to 2019 form.
Oh, if you can, like, in Dynasty, yes, 100% sell him.
Play off of his
But
12.25 points on 91% of snaps.
Redraft, we're pretty happy. Though.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
He's going to be playing 100% of snaps, Bobo. This
listen,
Raiders
where we're at-
linebacker role has been profitable.
And where we're at in the season, it's tough. It's
tough
hard to
in,
find.
Yeah, it's tough in these streets right now.
Are you surprised at all about the Jonathan Abram news?
Yes, I am a little surprised just because
Has he already found a new team?
no, they didn't pick up his option, so he was already gone. This kind of mid-season thing tells me that they just wanted him off the team. I
Or
think
teams
there's
should do more of that.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
there's something else going on here where I always remember the clip from Hard Knocks when the Raiders had it and Gruden was still around.
I know where you're going.
Right? Do you remember this? Where he was on the field with Gruden and he was joking with Gruden. He's like, "You can't cut me.
Yep.
I'm a first-round pick. You can't cut me."
Yep.
And I was like, "Oh, okay. So this dude is a rookie
Entitled immediately.
saying this to John Gruden right off the bat."
You should have retweeted that today.
I thought about it. I was like, "Do I want to go dig this up?"
That
No.
would have gone viral, Josh.
Yeah, but that's maybe John Gruden can't cut you.
not liking Rashaan Gary as well.
I didn't like Rashan Gary. Why?
because he was wasn't a good guy.
Rashan Gary wasn't a good guy? Are you thinking
Yeah.
of the right person?
Yes.
What did Rashan Gary do?
He was a little bit of like some trouble at Michigan, correct?
Was he? I don't remember this.
Yeah, well, he was on one of the Hard Knocks, wasn't he?
You got a bad heart.
I don't remember this. I don't remember Rashan Gary.
you're right.
Michigan had a hard knock or a all or nothing.
That's what it was.
Yep.
But I don't remember
Josh
it
trying
being
to drag
Rashan Gary that I was mad at.
You were,
I'm not
So
surprised.
take that with a grain of salt, guys.
Yeah.
He doesn't know hearts like I do.
Yeah, Adam does know hearts really well. He's a cardiologist.
And Josh has a bad one.
He's a guardian.
Cardiologist of the heart.
Hey, let's talk about Dwayne Smoot real quick.
God, I didn't think we'd be saying that sentence
What a
tonight.
transition. Don't
I
roster
mean-
B-Mart, but go get you a Smoot.
Here we are in week 9, and Smoot has, what is this, almost 5 sacks on the year and a forced fumble. I mean,
Does he really?
if you're in some of these degenerate leagues like we are, Smoot's getting decent snaps. I mean, he's 50% snaps, but he has now 3.5 sacks and 5 tackles in the last 2 weeks. It is on a very low percentage of snaps, I will say that, but
yeah, he's a nice dart, it appears.
he's been okay. He's been okay when Josh Allen has been completely non-existent, as has Trayvon Walker.
Man, Josh Allen.
Been really disappointing
Yikes.
ever since I handed
One
him
of
the bag in RSO.
Yeah, one of the disappointments of the season, I would say.
I think
That's become a bit of a trend for
Yeah.
Josh Allen. I'm getting quite sick of him.
it's getting old.
Yeah.
getting
Also
old.
feel bad. People are, ask us questions like, should we start Josh Allen? And you tell them, yes, you should just because of ceiling. But like,
That's right. At a
Dude
certain
makes
point,
us look bad.
Yeah, got to sit him down. Sit down, be humble, Josh Allen.
Trayvon
Right.
Walker, even
Terrible first name, brother.
Trayvon for that, same purpose as well has been disappointing. But
Yeah,
yes,
both
Josh
playing
Allen,
78% of snaps. Both scored about the same. 2.75 for Allen and 2.5 for Trayvon Walker.
Trayvon's pressures have been
Yeah, well, that was what
kinda
Sig
down there.
mentioned. The worst, what was it? The worst pressure rate for someone with his volume of snaps?
And I mean, we're talking about,
not great.
underwhelming as of late. Devin Lloyd for IDP. Yikes. Guys like averaging like 8 points over his last 4.
I was going to say, he had an okay game here, 11.35 on 92% of
That's
snaps.
his best game over the last 4 weeks.
Wow, that's not great.
But is it a buy window?
Yes, of course it is.
It's always a buy window.
We knew it was
is.
coming around.
Yeah. It's
Yes,
always
sir.
a
Get those
buy
offers
window.
I love the parts in you and Johnny's last episode. There were a couple of them where Adam was like, this guy right here is just really crapping the bed for us. But
Yeah, that's right. That's his go-to move. All
I
right,
love it.
gentlemen.
We need it on the board, Josh.
That's right. I'll work on it. Add it to the list.
Let me introduce this one, and I'm gonna give it to you over here, Joshy. The Colts with a big 3 points
Yeah.
in Week 9
Yeah, it was great.
against your least favorite team in the NFL.
Boy, that was fun.
The New England Patriots. And as much as it pains me, Judon is your IDP MVP so far with a 20.5 points per game average in the 2022 season. Joshua, Colts, speak to it.
Well, let's have the conversation, and then we can talk Matthew Judon, who's the leading point scorer in all of IDP. I think he's like 20 or 30 points ahead of Micah Parsons, so he has been just even better than last season, which seems impossible. But let's talk about the Colts. What a weird week. The Andrew Luck thing will probably always go down as kind of the biggest Colts bomb of my lifetime, of like out-of-body, surreal moment. The Frank Reich firing was in itself not super surprising. You kind of figure heads had to roll after that performance. I mean, I turned it off. I didn't even watch the second half. I just watched Red Zone. I was like, I don't need to see any more of this team. And I even texted.
Does your brother watch all those games?
Oh, yeah.
The entire thing?
The entire thing.
God.
Yeah, God bless him. But I actually texted in my thread with Dad and Connor Sunday, like afternoon, and said, would not be surprised if Frank Reich got fired. Sure enough, happens. I think it should have been Ballard as opposed to Reich, because this team, it's been roster building, just
conundrums.
I mean, just a complete failure of roster building over the past 2 years. Ballard has regressed as a GM. Some of the choices have been absolutely baffling. You whiff on Carson Wentz. That right there, Zach Kiefer mentioned on the Athletic Football Show today, was what sealed Frank Reich's fate. They said if Frank had not gone to the mattresses for Carson Wentz, would he still be around? And the answer from Zach Kiefer was yes. So, because here's the reason. Phillip Rivers wanted to play another season. That's on record. He wanted to play another season, and Frank said, let me go get Carson. Let us get our quarterback of the future. We can have this guy for 4 or 5 years, and it will solve the QB carousel.
And y'all paid him a lot.
Well, we paid a lot to go get him, a first-round pick.
Yeah, lots of first.
And
And not only that, wasn't his cap crazy?
that wasn't too bad. I think it was like 25 or 30 million, so right in line with like starting quarterback money. But the two other decision makers in the building, primarily Jim Irsay, hated Carson Wentz so much they basically just jettisoned him with no backup plan. But Ballard then going to get Matt Ryan, who was beyond washed up, and sticking him behind the worst offensive line in the league, thinking Matt Pryor was a competent left tackle when he's been benched, I think, 3 different times this season at 3 different positions. That's how bad this guy is. And he thought he could be our starting left tackle. You talk about yes, the Packers do have a worse wide receiver room, but it's not much better for the Colts. The pass catching options there are young, inexperienced. I mean, they just, I think, bet too much on we can coach these guys up, and it just has not panned out. And so I think it should have been Ballard that got the can instead of Frank Reich, or both of them should have gone. Frank having his head roll for this whole embarrassing situation, I thought was a bit unfair, because who else is going to do better with this roster? Mm-hmm. He did have some blame, for sure. But then the Jeff Saturday bomb drops. And that was when the whole surreal circus really kicked into high gear. And I think there's been a lot of speculation about why Jeff Saturday got this job, to the point where Jeff Saturday is on record as asking Jim Irsay, what makes me qualified for this job? Like, why are you giving this to me? And I think the thing that's helped me understand why Jeff Saturday is now the coach of the Indianapolis Colts with no coaching experience beyond high school. I love that his high school record was getting tossed around like that has any relevance whatsoever. But I think the reason that he was hired, I got this from Ian Rappaport quote. He said that Jim Irsay, the owner of the Colts, wants eyes and ears inside his building, and he knows that Jeff Saturday will shoot him straight, will tell him what's going on, will not pull any punches, will give him the straight truth. And so I think if you reframe what Jeff Saturday's job is, because Jim Irsay said he's the right man for the job. Well, he's not the right man for the head coaching job because there were other more qualified candidates in the building. So what job is he right for? It's to basically be Irsay's eyes and ears, to be a consultant, to tell him what's going on, who needs to go, who needs to stay. Jim Irsay trusts Jeff Saturday, and he knows that Saturday is not going to pull any punches when it comes to how this organization needs to be remade top to bottom. So that, I think, is why Peyton Manning's former center is now the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. That does not feel like a real sentence, even as I say it. So I don't know what the hell's going on, but this is embarrassing. It's a bad time to be a Colts fan.
Yeah. Gosh, man, when did the luck thing happen? Was that feels like 10 years ago at this point.
I think it was
2018.
18 or 19, yeah.
But man, it's been
the
good old days was Phillip Rivers. I mean,
yes, exactly. I would have been
know
happy.
what you had.
Yes, we 11-5, almost beat the Bills in the playoffs. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. It was 2018 because we had Brissett, and then Rivers was 19 into 20.
Yeah.
Y'all just had everything go wrong this year. I mean, with
It's
JT,
awful, yeah.
JT being out, Darius Leonard having just the start he had. I mean, Matt Ryan, I think he's probably banged up as well, but his arm wasn't much anyway. Anymore.
Yeah, he was just the worst possible quarterback to drop behind a league worst offensive line.
It's one of those things where you can talk yourself into in the offseason, like Matt Ryan can be okay. Mm-hmm. And then it's, 2-3 games in, you're like, oh, no, he's not, and it's over.
Well, we think, Ryan's an upgrade on Wentz, right? Well, maybe, but not if everything else regresses at the same time around Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
They're both bad quarterbacks at this point.
Yeah.
Somebody's looking at like career stats for Matt Ryan, just being like, this guy's going to be better than Carson Wentz. Look at him.
Well, and it should have been a red flag to all of us that what was the hype? What was the buzz coming out of training camp for Matt Ryan? Oh, he's such a leader. All his passes are exactly where they're supposed to be. You weren't hearing like, oh my God, Matt Ryan just threaded like a 60-yard bomb to Michael Pittman. It was like, he wants you to be where you're supposed to be on your routes. That should have been a red flag of like, are we sure Matt Ryan still has anything left in the tank that constitutes competent quarterback play in the year 2022?
And a lot of y'all's moves too with the draft and everything have been really bizarre also. The Kari Willis retirement thing was really strange, and now Nick Cross doesn't look great. Alec Pierce is whatever. Jelani Woods just seemed like a unnecessary ad. Just bizarre team. Yannick isn't working out. That doesn't look like a very good acquisition now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Josh.
It's a bad team. My hope now is let's bottom out. Let's get a top 3 overall pick. Let's get the quarterback and let's rebuild this thing. Let's get off the freaking carousel and have a quarterback that we can at least go into year 2 and year 3 with. And head coach wise, boy, I don't know. Peyton Manning is the leader in the clubhouse right now.
Is that
real? That is real.
Wow.
Maybe I got duped by a fake Twitter account, but I saw a screenshot. I think it was like BetMGM odds for the next coach of the Colts was Peyton Manning #1.
It was Omaha Productions put that out there.
Probably.
What about let's get to IDP talk real quick.
Yes.
So you're the GM, you're Chris Ballard in real life, not even IDP. You getting rid of Shaq Leonard?
Well, it's too late now. Trade deadline has passed. But,
correct. That's true.
If I have an opportunity to move on.
Who you keeping?
Yeah. Well, the thing that I saw like today was the only thing that matters for 2022 is let's get Grover Stewart to the Pro Bowl. And I agree with that. Grover Stewart has been our best player by far. I am excited that Kwity Paye came back and scored 20.1 points on 73% of snaps. He looked great.
But yeah, that's where you guys are at. You guys are rooting for Grover Stewart at this point.
Yep, that's pretty much it.
Wow.
So, but hey, seriously though, even though it pains me, shout out to Matthew Judon. Yes, he got to feast against this god-awful Colts offensive line and Sam Ehlinger, who, do they go to Nick Foles at this point? Do they go back to Matt Ryan? I don't know. They literally elevated a 30-year-old like assistant to Frank Reich to be the offensive play caller.
What happened to Jacob Eason?
He's on maybe the Packers now.
He never started for y'all.
No,
ever?
he got cut. Ehlinger beat him out for the backup job last year.
Hey, we didn't answer this on Twitter today. I don't think we. Sorry about that. homeboy. This is from at Fantasy Flex for fun. He's a friend of the show, always active with us on Twitter. But he asked us a question: a rebuilding team has Judon and Mosley. How much would you give up to get both?
That's a great question.
He's going to acquire them?
He's going to acquire them. He's a contender. Someone that is rebuilding has Mosley, and who else was it again?
Judon,
yes, duh.
I'm not giving up a first for those two guys.
No.
So keep this in
Would
mind.
you give up a second for both those
For
guys?
both of them,
I think I would.
if you're,
Are you right there? Like, are you
Yeah, I
knocking
mean-
on the door?
yeah,
I think if I really believe I have a, really solid chance to win a championship, yes, I think I'd pay a second.
yeah, and also if you're a real contender, and you think your window is going to be longer than this year. I mean, those guys are still going to be elite for another 2 years at least.
Yeah, at least this year and next year, I would think.
I'm not giving a lot for Judon. He's great, and if you've had him and you've gotten this production, that's awesome. But
If he's by himself, you're hoping to get him for a third, right?
exactly, and I keep going back to what you said from last year. After week 13, Judon didn't have any more sacks, so I don't know. Sure, a third.
Yeah.
I'm not giving a second for Judon.
No.
Just because
me
he's not
neither.
really the type that I want to go get right now.
Yeah. You're trying to find
Maybe if
better deals. You're not giving up a second is like that's like
are you gonna
last week of the trade deadline. Like that's like
desperate?
Desperation, yeah.
Are you giving up a second if he's a defensive end?
Yeah, I'm assuming.
Yes,
I'm
yeah.
assuming he is a edge defensive line. I'm not assuming
LB,
he's a
no.
LB.
No.
24
No, LB. I'm not giving up. I mean, I guess I'll give up a fourth.
Yeah, fourth, yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'm probably not even giving up a third if he's an LB.
His
But
number,
don't play in dumb leagues like that anymore, folks.
Don't be dumb. Don't be dumb.
his numbers have been crazy. I also thought about this when you were reading, or when I was reading the headline: 20.5 points per game, which is awesome. But a couple years ago, wasn't T.J. Watt like 26 points per game?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Are you doing it with C.J. Mosley and Matt Judon together? You're a contender. You're like you're one of the better teams.
I need an edge and I need a linebacker, and those are the last two pieces.
He wants a second for it, or he's not doing it.
A 24.
A 24 or 20, I mean 2025. Like that's not a 2023 second you're trading away. No one's doing that.
No.
But I mean, if
24, sure.
yeah,
24 second, yeah.
Because both of those guys' roles are going to continue to be solid. Matt Judon saw 68% of snaps. I'm going to assume that C.J. Mosley snaps are pretty high also.
yeah,
Because the Jets are winning, and Quan Alexander's not going to take C.J. Mosley's job. Neither is Quincy Williams.
No.
Let's talk about that game, boys. The Jets got the upset over the Bills.
Love it.
One of the upsets of the year. Jets 20, Bills 17. Boys, is Sauce Gardner the dynasty cornerback 1?
No, I mean it's show some respect to Jerry Sneed. How dare you?
Thank
Well,
you.
I'm just saying. He's currently sitting at DB 8, the CB 3 on the season by Big 3 scoring behind Sneed and behind Jalen Ramsey.
But absolutely, he's a top 5. I mean, he's probably second. Honestly, I mean, and especially his first name is Sauce. I mean, that is as good as it gets.
That's
I mean,
why I thought we could at least build a case here, guys.
But yeah, he's 2, right? I mean, I think.
Yeah, there's nobody else that's really kind of gotten to that level. Pat Surtain's fine. A.J. Terrell's fine, but none of them have really taken that step this year that we kind of wanted them to.
Yeah, Sneed's only 25, so he's not that old.
Even Trayvon Diggs has really not done a whole lot this year. I think he had a pick last week or the week before, but not anything near like his 10 or 12 picks he had last year. I'm fine with that. Sauce is great, but
22 years old.
yeah, don't disrespect L'Jarius Sneed.
But also, what is that worth? What is Sauce Gardner worth? I mean, are you gonna in a cornerback required league? Yeah, I get it. But is anyone giving you?
No,
more
you're never trading for a cornerback.
And I can
but
tell you, big football, what's going to happen as the Jets maybe get into some of these higher profile games, the more and more he's going to be linked to Revis Island. And, people are going to start to say, well, they're not going to throw towards Sauce anymore. And that's a possibility. I don't know who the opposite corner is there.
DJ Reed, who's also really good, and he's
there you
locked
go.
in there for a while.
So I don't know. I don't know.
So, for context, me and Bobby did a cornerback trade today.
That's
yeah.
right. There you go.
I traded away L'Jarius Sneed,
Mm-hmm.
favorite of the show, favorite of my heart. But I'm in a weird kind of spot. I kind of like, I could still make the playoffs because my division is really down and bad. But also I need to kind of think about the future a little bit and change out players for picks where I can. So traded away L'Jarius Sneed for to the guy sitting across from me, Mr. Bobby Reynolds. L'Jarius Sneed for a 2024 third and a 2024 fourth.
What'd you think, Josh?
Yeah. I think it's a fair deal. I mean, especially for a cornerback, like we're saying, these are not players that you typically are going to move picks for. But 2024 picks. How do you feel about 2024 picks right now? Because
I don't care. I don't care. I know that everyone will love them when that time comes. And
yeah, it's just hard because you don't get to reap. I guess if you turned around and flipped them, yes, but if you're planning to hold them, you don't get to reap any benefit from that for 18 months, 2 years.
It's okay.
That's a long time to lose a value like L'Jarius Sneed and not reap any value back in return. That's just hard.
I'm solid at corner, though. My other corners are Kenny Moore, who's been off to a slow start, but I think he'll pick it up towards the end of the year. And then I have Gardner Johnson, who's listed as a corner in there. So, I'm very solid. And also there's really good corners out there on the waiver wire still. It's just not a position that people pay enough attention to week to week. They don't analyze it enough. I mean, you can find, I've been looking at who's hot lately. People don't do that. There's not even resources out there for that stuff. So like if you have that data in front of you and access to that stuff, like you can find these diamonds in the rough. There's a reason why L'Jarius Sneed was on my team in the first place. There's a reason why we find these corners all the time.
It might be the first corner I've ever traded for.
Exactly. Like how many cornerback deals? That's like I almost have to take this.
But he's also DB1. I mean, he's outscoring safeties.
He's DB1, but is he due for some regression? Probably.
Yeah, I mean, most people sitting at the top of their position group are. Unless your name's Aaron Donald.
Is he going to regress much? No, I think he's still going to be a cornerback one, a top 12 corner for the rest of the year. But I need to start getting some picks where I can. And also, I just want to send a message to people that, if you come at me fairly, I'll send you some. And it's defense, dude.
Yeah,
that's right.
We do this damn show.
2 picks for a corner.
Yeah,
2 picks for a corner.
Yep.
I get a CB1, but
I just want to point out, Sauce Gardner is wearing his chain. I think it has the little sauce bottle on it in his sleeper profile pick. The log has been nice, boys. 6, 11, 15, 6, 17, 11, 23, 10, 18. Boy's been good.
And Sauce is probably out there in dynasty leagues, even those deep dynasty leagues. I picked up Sauce in quite a few leagues the last couple of weeks. I mean, people just don't pay attention to corners.
Yep.
It's true. Hey, what about your boy Jordan Whitehead? 19 points on 100% of snaps, leading point scorer for the Jets.
Best game of the season, so we love to see that. And, I mean, if you look at the log, he hasn't really had these boom weeks, but he's just been steady Eddie. He's given us, at least 8 to 10 points every week, and sometimes that's totally fine for a safety. And, yeah, we're going to look up, and he's going to be up there in the ranks at the end of the year just because he's, going to play games and he's going to put out, 10 to 11, 12 points a game.
Yeah, the aforementioned C.J. Mosley there at 18 points on 85% of snaps. So nice showing by him. Quinnen Williams, D tackle 1 for Dynasty. Well, go check out the episode with Sig if you want to hear us debate that. But 12.7 points on 74% of snaps. We should mention the big news coming out of this game. Old Gregory Rousseau, week to week with an ankle injury. So that is not ideal. So keep an eye on the practice reports and what we get back from the testing and kind of the prognosticators' take on what that injury looks like, but not great. Thankfully, Von Miller, 17.5 points on 73% of snaps, so he's continuing to play well. Tremaine Edmonds, only 9.75 points on 100% of snaps. No Matt Milano this week. Boys, what do you think about this? I extended Von Miller in RSO. He's currently listed as a linebacker, anticipating that he is going to be switched to defensive end. Did the same thing with Khalil Mack. Give myself a couple nice veterans.
What was the money?
Khalil Mack was actually more expensive. He was, I think, around $5 or $6 million
per year.
Both,
Yeah,
for two.
steals.
for 2 years.
Perfect.
But Khalil Mack was $2.5-3 million, I think, per year.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I was like, thank you very much.
I love the years on the older guys too. They
Yep.
get down to that 2 year. It's not a 4-year contract.
Yeah, they don't want like 4 years outrageous money, so I appreciate that. Khalil Mack, Von Miller, thank you very much.
Can't
for
miss
that.
DeMar Hamlin though. I mean, we got to probably show a little more love to him. He's been fantastic.
Yes, he
You know,
has.
since all the injuries that they've dealt with there in Buffalo at safety. I mean, he has been the most productive safety they've had this year.
That's
And
right.
consistent. So
Yeah, no big reason to rush back Poyer and Micah Hyde. Is he out? He's probably out for the season.
He's out
right?
for the season.
Okay, I don't think Hyde's coming
yeah,
back.
DeMar
but
Hamlin he's going to have a role for the rest of the season.
there we go. Let's talk about a game between the Panthers and Bengals where it was pretty much over by halftime. Bengals 42, Panthers 21, and I don't know how this is possible, gentlemen, but every single IDP in this game underwhelmed despite 63 total points being scored. Highest score for the Panthers, Brian Burns at 12.5 points on 66% of snaps. And Jesse Bates, 15.1, led the Bengals. Addy, I think you said it well that Jermaine Pratt, he don't need all them snaps. Just give him about 40% and he's going to do his thing.
Wow, I didn't realize he only had 41% though. I mean, was he banged up at all?
I don't know.
Because that's not normal. I mean, normally he's like 70% range.
Hakeem Davis Gaither was 33. Logan Wilson was 59. So maybe they didn't play a lot of linebackers.
They rested starters.
Yeah.
Clearly, because they blew the hell out of them.
They
Because that
did.
was
They
like
did
it was like
indeed.
42. Yeah, I probably shouldn't
They
have worded
did.
it like that. Sorry about that, folks.
But a little explicit content rating on the front of this album art.
But
Totally lost my train of thought.
those snaps will come back. Don't look into that. That was because of the blowout.
You got to stop saying the word blow. I'm taking it out of your vocabulary.
Yes, sir.
The rest of the show. We can move on because there's nothing really to talk about from this game. Shaq Thompson, 89% of snaps. Frankie Louvu, 73. So that trend continued. It is still Shaq Thompson's job there in Carolina. But let's talk about.
This is your sell Jesse Bates window. There you go. That's it.
There you go. That's all we're
15
saying.
points.
Yeah, really. That was a monster week for him.
So Vikings 20, Commandos 17. Addy, the Vikes are, I believe, 7-1, 8-1, 7-1. Kirk
Class
is
of the NFL.
That's right. Kirk's dancing on the plane, shirtless with the chains, with the blue blocker glasses.
Ooh-wee. You guys remember that one? That one doesn't get nearly the respect it deserves.
I don't remember this one. Was this?
That was him walking in the tunnel, and he kept doing the ooh-wee.
No, I don't remember that.
Good
That's a horrific sound, though. I'm glad we don't get that one as much in our ears.
But yeah, you liked that. That was the one that stuck. But yeah, it's
apparently the fans were chanting that at him, and that's why he brought it back post game.
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
everything's great right now. I mean, what can you say? I mean, it looks like the two best pass rushers in the league.
Truly. That was the headline for me from this game was you look at 25% of the top 16 defensive linemen in the league were in this game. Zadarius Smith, Danielle Hunter, Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen.
That's true, man.
All top 16. That's pretty cool.
Wow.
For it to be the two defensive tackles, if you had asked somebody, hey, who are the two defensive linemen for the Washington football team that are in the top 16? Let's assume Chase is healthy. Everyone probably would have said, oh, it's Chase Young and Montez Sweat, right?
Yep.
Nope. Defensive tackle's been balling out there in Washington, boys.
Yeah, remember beginning of the year when everyone, I guess like week 3 or week 4, when everyone was like, do we sell Danielle Hunter? What do we do? What's happening here? Is this guy a bum now? Calm down.
Nope.
Calm down.
Yeah, 28.75 points. Zadarius Smith, 19.75. Actually, more points on the season for Zadarius Smith. So one of those situations, is Zadarius Smith coming in going to hurt Danielle Hunter? Does it hurt Zadarius Smith? Turns out it's that great combination where both players mutually benefit each other, Bobo. And as IDP managers, we get to reap the benefits.
If y'all were worried about my league where I have to start Jordan Hicks and Eric Kendricks, don't worry. We're doing just fine.
We're doing just fine. How many teams can boast that they have multiple combos that you can feel comfortable starting in your IDP lineups every week? That's pretty rare.
What about Cameron Bynum, 0.75 on 100% of snaps?
Yeah, so he's big play dependent.
Mm-hmm.
He has not. Yeah, because I mean, he was when we saw him his rookie year. Yeah, he had like we only saw him like 2 appearances, but he balled out in both those games. So I think we all kind of like thought maybe this guy could just be one of those like stuff the stat sheet types. But he plays deep. He's yeah. I don't think he's anything special. I mean, he's getting his opportunity because of Lewis Cine going down.
On the other side, let's talk about something that is special.
Yes.
And if you're sub to the IDP show news feed, you got to read my beautiful article about Cam Curl, where he racked in 11 tackles on 66 snaps in Week 9. The time
100% of snaps.
The time is nigh. It's nigh.
Is nigh good or bad? Does that mean now?
It means now.
An old way of saying now.
Cam Curl is here.
18.25 points. Top 12 safety rest of season, Bobo?
He's got to be, man. He's got to be. The PFF metrics love him. Now the IDP numbers are going to love him. I don't know, man. I wish I could acquire Curl in XFFL. I can't because I just can't.
Does John Macri have him?
No. But I can't acquire Curl. That's a wave that's not going to come back my way.
Oh, was that a boomerang?
Yeah, I had Curl last year. But anyways, yes, I like Cam Curl a lot. He's a DB that I actually trust, and there's not a lot of those so far this year.
No, sir. We don't. Talk about trust, boys. Are we trusting, Addy, that Zaven's season is finally here? 14.12 points per game. Also, let's say hello to your DL5 on the season, Uchenna Nwosu. I'm going to give you the solo cam and just let you speak on it, Addy. Whoa! That was not the board, folks. That was Addy in all his glory, raw and unfiltered.
I mean, it's amazing. Zaven Collins, over the last 4 weeks, he is second in points per game among linebackers. I don't have all the defensive lineman data pulled yet, but I'd imagine Uchenna is maybe number 1. I mean, there's not been many players hotter than him right now. So, yeah, I mean, you love to see it. We called Uchenna a dog. People were hating on him because of his pressure rate and shit like that. But it's like, watch the games, listen to what people say about him, listen to what his teammates say about him. But I mean,
let's look at the log.
Let's
look at the log for Uchenna. 26, 13, 7, 17, 5, 14, 11, 32, 27.
Gosh.
That is a hell of a log there, Addy.
And he's playing like 80% of the snaps.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Which is just, I feel like some people think that's the norm for edge guys. That is not. There's like 15 to 20 people that do that stuff, and they're all elite. So, Uchenna was another one of the types, that the narrative going around with Seattle loves to rotate and all that stuff, and he's not going to see over 50% of the snaps.
Sometimes they love to rotate until they have a guy that they can't take off the field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, rational coaching.
And sometimes we can make bets that maybe a player like Uchenna coming into this situation is that type of player. A player that Greg Rosenthal brought up on this very podcast, Daddy. Specifically.
That's right.
I didn't even have Uchenna on the list. And he's like, Josh, we got to talk about Uchenna Nwosu. And I said, okay, Greg, hit me with it. And so here we are now, DL5. And not surprising here. I mean, I guess a little surprising. I mean, we thought he'd be good, but DL5.
No, yeah, we didn't see that.
I mean, that's amazing.
It's
especially
really cool.
In a situation where typically there had been a rotation. I was hoping for like DL16, DL8, like a solid DL2. Bobo, and this dude's been an every week starter for you.
What was Uchenna's, what was he averaging in Los Angeles? Was he a 30% snap guy probably?
He was like 40 to 50.
Mm-hmm. I gotcha.
And he was really only got his opportunity like whenever there was injuries for like Melvin Ingram or Joey Bosa.
That's a tough look for the Chargers. That's a big L.
Yeah.
Let a guy like that go.
Yeah.
Congrats, Pete. Yeah. Uchenna
They just weren't using him right,
Yeah. Uchenna looks like a dog, man. He really does. He could be a league winner this year.
And that's on a good
He's
team.
looking like it. I mean, he's one of the candidates, right? I mean, there's not many people that are probably performing better versus where he was drafted than Uchenna.
Oh, well, ADP wise, what was he?
Oh God.
Dude, he would
So
have been
late.
DL
40.
50 to 60.
Yeah.
Here was the snap counts for Uchenna going back to his rookie season in 2018. So he played, looks like 26, 37, 42, 67, and 80 this year. 80% of snaps this season. So it had been trending up since his rookie year, but capped out at 67% there his last year with the Chargers.
We did see the flashes last year in 2021.
That
though,
we did.
When he finally got his opportunity. I mean, if you look back at the game logs, I mean, the dude had some 30-point games there at the end of the year. So, I mean, that's why that stuff is important. You know, if you see players with that type of ceiling and making that type of impact in multiple weeks, you have to pay attention.
Yeah. Zaven Collins, though, Addy. Are we bought in? Are we finally going to let our guard down? Like, are we just accepting that maybe he is the guy we thought he was?
Yeah, we're bought in. I mean, he's making massive plays at this point. I mean, that play that he made was one of the best defensive plays of the year. Yep. I mean, he didn't get much opportunity last year. I mean, this is really year one for Zaven Collins, and he is making more and more plays as we go along. So, and they trust him. He's the linebacker that his stats have stayed consistent. So I mean, they want to let this guy get out there and work through whatever issues he may have, which there will be. He's still young and learning, but yeah, Zaven Collins is looking like one of the better young linebacker assets for us in IDP.
And
There's not a lot.
I was gonna say there's not a lot of those guys.
There's not a lot.
So hold on to him if you got him.
Who you want more now? You want Zaven Collins? You want JOK? Everyone's favorite darling this offseason.
Yep.
Who you want?
Zaven season, baby, all day.
Who was ranking Zaven over JOK offseason? I don't know.
I don't know. Do you think that was Addy, Bubba?
That was probably me.
All right, so we have the Zaven Collins manager in our main league to my right. To my left, we now have the new Isaiah Simmons manager. So, Baba, what's your confidence level? You must be feeling pretty good if you're willing to do a boomerang trade for Mr. Simmons.
Isaiah Simmons tackle grade in week 9, 78.8. His overall defensive PFF grade on the season in 2022 is 61.6, so not great. But his pass rush grade in 2022 is 91.5. Are we figuring it out in Arizona?
Seems like it.
Are we figuring out how to use Zaven and Isaiah Simmons together? Has it just taken us a couple years? I'm even kind of with Addy, too, that he brought up a couple weeks ago that with DeAndre Hopkins coming back, it's kind of – Seahawks are a great team. I'll give them that. Ken Walker looks awesome. But aside from that, maybe the Cardinals are figuring it out. Maybe – who knows?
No, they're still pretty bad. But I think they're figuring it out with Zaven and Isaiah Simmons.
Sure.
Which is what we care about the most.
Was it stupid of me to go get Simmons back? It's okay. You can tell me yes.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, I think that's an arrow or a player whose arrow is pointing up.
I know I'm extremely biased, but Simmons has been really fun, man, especially in the big play category.
We mentioned Tranquil number 1 in the last 4 weeks, points per game, and then we mentioned Zaven Collins number 2, Isaiah Simmons number 3.
Wow, 2 Cardinals linebackers. We finally got the 2 tall trees.
19.5 over the last 4 weeks.
Let's go, boys.
Great ref, Josh.
Let's go. All right, next
Wow.
game here.
Isn't that something?
That's balling.
Talking about, Bobo, okay, we got to go from something that makes your heart
It's all
happy
right, we can do it. We can do it.
to something that might make your heart sad.
Nah.
The Rams are bad.
Yeah.
The Rams are just bad. It's okay. They lost to the Bucks 16-13. I think their season is pretty much shot.
Hey, it was all there for us week 1. We knew this week.
Yeah,
1.
should have been like, wait a minute. Do the Rams, are they bad? Turns out they're bad.
Is it a good sell Cooper Cup window?
Yep.
I think so, too.
Yeah, man. Is Stafford, is
That's all
McVay
he's
going to
got.
do this
That's
much
all they
longer?
got. What a boring-ass team, dude.
All you have.
Great question I heard was, would you rather be in charge of the Bucks or the Rams for the next, 2 to 3 years?
Bucks.
I agree. Because even defensively, what do you really have? Aaron Donald could retire after this year. You've got an old Bobby Wagner. You've got Ernest Jones. And
You have
then
no
Jalen
pivot
Ramsey.
points. You have no pivot points for this Rams team. You have no way to inject young talent. With the Bucks, you've got a pretty loaded roster. If you can drop a first-round quarterback in there to replace Tom Brady,
Are you going to talk about Brian Burns?
Yes, dude.
What was that going to help?
We thought that was bogus. We didn't think anyone offered them 2
turns
firsts.
out
Turned out the Rams, a team that is just
2
no
firsts,
awareness of where they're at.
24
and a second.
and a 25 first, right?
Yeah, the 2 first and a second.
Which Carolina, the Rams are going to probably be bad.
Yeah.
Like, why did you turn that down?
I think the argument I
They're
heard
bad now.
I think the argument I heard was if you're the Rams, you're like, this is a star-studded roster, and we just have to lean into that. Like, we have to try to find a spark somewhere, and maybe Burns gives that because Von Miller gave you that. But, like, bro.
They need to shut Stafford down now, and he needs to get whatever he needs done.
Yeah, because it's Tommy John, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I mean, you're looking at a situation where McVay's in an announcing booth in like a year or two. Stafford's retired. Donald's retired.
Ramsey could be retired.
I mean, it could go south. Yes, you went all in. You got the ring, but boy, oh boy, waking up that morning after the house is a wreck, you're not getting your security deposit back.
Even if you're
there's a dead hooker on the couch, there's mountains of
Roquan's
cocaine.
there.
Roquan's somehow there in the building.
Frank
Rashaan
Clark's
Gary
outside.
apparently has a bad heart, and he's there, says the cardiologist. So
he's egging him on.
yeah, the character cardiologist over there.
Let's go Dynasty Bobby Wagner talk. Is it time to move on?
From B-Wags?
You just going to ride him to the sunset?
21.75 points. This, I think, was his only 20-point game this season.
I think you should sell now. Yeah, he's been
kinda had a little
bit of a bummer this year.
Yeah,
not
it's
really
not been
doing
great.
much for us.
Last
week
4
to
to
week.
5 weeks has been a dip.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, you're looking to sell any window you got to sell Wagner. But what are you going to get? Are you going to get, if you can't get more than a third? Are you just going to
just hold on to him.
hold on to
Yeah.
him? I'm just fine having that guy be my LB 3 or 4.
Yeah, he's been a little bit of a bummer just because the highs with Bobby Wagner were so high, but
It's the same
he's
thing
fine.
with Levante David, dude.
Yeah.
It's like people, I'm sure people were having the same conversation 2 years ago. Like, now's the time to sell Levante David. What are you selling for? But the dude just continues to be someone you want on your roster. He's just a nice piece to have. So he's been worth,
He's plug and play as long as you have good expectations,
Yeah.
right? As long as you have the right mindset about what B-Wags is giving you at this point. He's not going to crap your team, but he's not going to have these 20-point
So if
games.
you can acquire him for a third, I think
Yeah.
I think you acquire somebody like that.
Does it kind of baffle you sometimes when you hear, I mean, obviously it does, but when you hear these trades that didn't happen in the NFL, like obviously the Brian Burns is like, you're stupid, you should have taken that. But even if you hear that somebody offered anything for Cam Akers, it's like, why did y'all not take that?
I know.
What about Akers has been good?
Did they get a single offer?
I've heard that they got like a couple of offers for picks.
That is shocking.
Even if it's a fifth, he's rushing for a yard and a half per
Even if
carry
it's
right
like
now.
a seventh in 2025, just get anything.
I just don't understand.
something.
I wonder if it's got to be a pride thing. It's got to be a pride thing with like Snead and McVay to where they're like, nope, we're doubling down.
They're probably just lying. They're not getting offers.
I don't think they got a single offer for Cam Akers.
Yeah, maybe not.
I don't think they got a single one.
You know what I think? I think a lot of the Cam Akers stuff was they thought they had a deal done for Christian McCaffrey, and that's why they started to shut him down. I think Cam Akers was going to be
They
part
were in the
of
mix.
that multiple pick type of deal.
The offer from the Rams, you could argue, was actually better for the Panthers, and they ended up going with the 49ers offer. But
What are the Rams? What's their record?
Oh,
3-6.
3-5, right?
Yep.
But they're in a bad division, so they think that they can still go for it. They think they can turn it.
But
The
are
division
they
is
in a
good.
bad division?
49ers and Seahawks are probably both going to make the playoffs.
Actually, never mind. Yeah, I blanked on that.
Because the Seahawks, that's the wrinkle
Yeah,
in
it's
all
over.
this.
What are they
it's like,
doing?
just pack it in. Even the Cardinals are better than you.
But
Pride
really,
thing.
I mean, they need to get Stafford and his surgery done.
Me and
Yeah,
Josh,
That's gonna hold them back
Let's
until
co-commiserate.
that.
me
Until
and
that.
Josh are going to be hanging out a lot this next couple.
Not
Yep.
me, boys.
Yes.
Life is good.
Are you gonna pull the Schefter and like do the knockoff shirtless?
Boy,
I
that
mean,
was cringe.
that was some classic
And speaking
white
of cringe,
dad energy.
Speaking of cringe, a lot of people loved the Justin Tucker thing where he's been making fun of Russell Wilson. Justin Tucker is the second worst player in the NFL as far as cringe goes.
Yeah.
Like that was just cringe on cringe.
It's cringe on cringe violence.
We don't support that. A lot of people were like acting like Justin Tucker was awesome for that. That was the lamest thing I've ever seen.
Here's the thing: 98% of NFL players are lame as hell.
It's true. Yeah.
Most of them.
Marlon Humphrey, who was recording it, sounded very annoying. Like I would not want to be around that.
Yeah,
dude.
I would be like immediately like go to sleep if I had to be on a plane with these NFL players.
Who
Like,
y'all
just
hanging out
no,
with?
thank you.
IDP wise, who you hanging with?
I mean, do I have to?
Yeah, I don't know who the cool.
I'm kind of at a phase in my life where I don't really want to hang out
I
with
know
new
who
people.
I'd hang out with. Old DW.
ODW.
Me and him gonna be riding them stairs.
That's true. Him and Ed Oliver.
Be a good life.
That
We're
would.
at some-
Be a good life
Yes,
down on
sir.
the range.
Yeah, that's I think I could more easily come up with players I don't want to hang out with than guys I actually would want to hang out with.
Yeah, I don't know who I'd hang out with.
Oh, I'll tell you who I'd hang out with. Oh my God, who was the big defensive lineman that was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? He's not there anymore. He had the giant Batman statue in his.
Gerald McCoy.
There you go, Gerald McCoy. I don't know if Gerald McCoy is still in the league, but he seems like a huge nerd. So yeah, I'll hang out with Gerald McCoy.
Cool.
I'll check out his cool Batman collection. And then be like, all right, man, see you later. Good talk, bud.
Big gulp, eh?
Yeah.
I'll probably hang out with Jalen Phillips, just stare into his eyes.
Just be like, can you take off your shirt again, Jalen?
You're right. Do you care if I maybe put my fingers through your curls? Like, give you a little kiss, right?
All right, let's talk about Titans, Chiefs, Saints, Ravens. Those games also happen. We'll see you all next week. Oh, Titans fall to the Chiefs 20-17 because Malik Willis cannot complete a pass at all, really. I think, Bobo, this was a situation where Malik Willis project, we'll see what he turns into, but not a player that should really see an NFL field the rest of the season.
Yeah, somebody talked a little bit too much in our main Slack about liking Malik Willis, so your boy shipped him off as fast as he could. Yeah.
That was, you should be arrested for that, Bobo.
24-4 for Malik. But it looks like that dude, even if y'all pump gas here, like at the IGA, whenever you go, it's got like the pre-done video. And for the past 6 months now, it's been playing. Some dude from Bally Sports says, my draft grade of the season goes to the Titans for drafting Malik Willis, who gets a B- or whatever. And I'm just
Come on,
wow,
IGA, update the videos.
this is not weathering well.
That's
but
not
anyways,
great.
yes, he looks very bad, Josh.
So
Danico Autry, though.
I was going to say, Danico Autry has 14.41 points per game average. I'd say he leads the all underrated team. Danico Autry has been an ass kicker this season. And I'm still pissed that Ballard let him walk out the door. Add that to his resume of awful GM moves.
We got 7 sacks on the season for Autry, and Bud Dupree is now injured again. So it's going to be back to Danico Autry and Rashad Weaver season.
Apologies to whoever out there on Twitter asked me who would I start over. I think it was Montez Sweat. I can't remember who the other one was. Oh, Montez Sweat, Zach Allen, or this character.
This character.
And definitely told him not Danico Autry.
Oh, man. Don't you love those start-sit questions?
Honestly,
Eddie?
do not. Folks, I would prefer you not to ask me start-sit stuff. Like, I have a hard enough time doing my own. I beat myself up every single week about the decisions I make.
It's hard enough
It makes
to do
me feel
offense.
bad.
Yeah.
I feel terrible whenever if I persuade you in any way.
You
like,
know,
this shit's hard.
I've thought
week
about
to week.
It's so hard with IDP.
Dude, Danico Autry's going against Patrick Mahomes,
Yeah.
bro.
Why? Why would we give him the nod?
I've thought about this a lot, and the whole start-sit thing from one week to the next is so difficult because you can say it right one week, but you're going to say it wrong the next. What you really need to pay attention to is like the longevity of the season. You know, where you've got guys in and out of your lineup the whole year. It is really hard to decide. You're splitting hairs between a lot of these decisions.
I go by points per game.
Yeah.
For the most part. And if it looks like the matchup is really, really favorable, maybe I pull the trigger. But
I just have John Macri set all my lineups. Just works
that.
out better for
Just do
everybody.
that,
Yeah, just send all your questions to Macri.
that's right. He can handle more. He has more on his plate.
Yeah, he would love to take your start-sit questions. John just threw his phone into the Canadian wilderness, I'm sure. But other notables from this game here. David Long, my flag plant, 100% of snaps, 12.5 points. Is he going to get that top 12 finish? I think it's in range.
Yeah.
I think he's got a really good shot. So, L'Jarius Sneed, 13.25. He continues to look great. Down game for Jeffrey Simmons there, 8.5 points. But yeah, it's going to be Rashad Weaver season with Bud Dupree.
0 points on 55% of the snaps. So
Yeah, well, we got.
I don't know what kind of season we're talking.
You
but
got a little bit of. He's at least back on the radar now. Bud Dupree, hip injury, severity unknown. So keep an eye on Twitter to see if what the severity of that injury is for Bud Dupree. But let's wrap up, gentlemen, with Ravens 27, Saints 13. This was the Monday night game. Didn't get to watch a lot of this one, but turns out, who knew, Justin Houston is the greatest IDP of all time, 28.77 points per game the last 3 games. Addy, what the hell is going on in Baltimore?
That's insane. I saw where the dude said he almost retired this offseason.
Yes, I saw that as well.
And now he has 8.5 sacks, and he's only playing like 30% of the snaps every game. Like, I mean, he is as part-time as it gets. But, yeah, I mean, there's no one more productive. There's like 5 people in the league more productive than Houston. So, yeah,
it's just
amazing.
old-ass Calais Campbell and old-ass Justin Houston getting 60% of the snaps and just whipping ass every week.
There's the example of grown-ass men. I mean, that's what we're talking about right there, folks. Like, that's why these edge guys, like, you can't discount them. Like, they continue to be just uber productive up until, they're 33, 34.
Mm-hmm.
Calais Campbell also very solid. I mean, he's going to have some big weeks.
Danico Autry was 32 years old.
Yeah.
We wondered, of course, the big news coming out of this past week was what does Roquan Smith look like? Down game for IDP, but did play 76% of the snaps. Patrick Queen still at 96%. Bobo, I think we're going to start to see that flip as Roquan Smith gets a little more acclimated in Baltimore.
Do you want Roquan in Baltimore?
No.
I think it's a downgrade from what he had in Chicago.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
But
someone who I think has been looking pretty good lately, Kyle Hamilton.
I was going to say,
he looks good out there on the field.
75% of snaps this week.
This dude looks tight.
Yeah.
I like aesthetically how he looks and all that stuff. He's going to be good, I think. I mean,
he's what number? Is he number 18? Am I remembering that he's a
4? There's a 4 in it.
Maybe 14. Yeah, he's 14. So
he had a pick last week.
Looks good. Did it get called back? Because he only had 7.5 points.
I think it did.
So
right.
I wondered if maybe the interception did not count.
But I mean, that team is, they're very young, but then they have a lot of these just veteran guys that are old as hell. So I mean, it's a nice mix they got there.
It is, yeah. You got the injection of youth with guys, like Queen, who's still young, Odafe Owe, Kyle Hamilton.
But Roquan is certainly nice on that defense.
It's a nice piece to drop in, man.
But IDP wise, yeah, this isn't good for IDP. I don't think
it's an arrow down.
Yep.
And good on Lamar for still winning because his offense is really banged up right now. Also,
Rashad Bateman out for the year.
And
such a bummer.
And Mark Andrews looks like he's going to miss some time
Yeah.
as well. That's pretty tough.
Yeah,
Lamar's
likely to miss time.
likely.
Yeah, I picked up Likely in one of our leagues, and he had a touchdown. Hey, let's give some love as if he needs any more. It's been one of our favorites really since we started this show. Demario Davis. The log this year has been impeccable. 9, 11, never forget, 21, I had to say it, 19, 3, 31, 15, 6, and 18. So Demario Davis still getting it done in his advanced age, Addy.
Yeah, 34, right? 33, 34 years old.
Basically our age out there, just making stuff happen on an NFL field, and all my bones crack when I get out of bed. So we are not the same.
We talk a lot about a lot of vets. I mean, it's funny how like all those sexy names that we were loving this offseason, like
It's like, what are you doing on my team? I wish you weren't here.
and even the ones that are performing well, like the Rousseaus and the Jalen Phillips. I mean, still they're not as good as these vets.
It's true. It's vet season, baby. That's what we've said. The biggest,
we learned a lot as a
Yes.
show. We were
We've
harping on
evolved.
this stuff all off season about how valuable these vets are. So yeah,
don't discount the vets, Bobo.
You can't do it.
We are ourselves vets, and we hopefully won't be discounted either.
that's why all those vets sign big ass deals.
That's right. And have played
NFL
well.
knows.
Yeah, and have played well. Von Miller's played well.
Chandler Jones
Jones
is
is
the
the
only one.
lone exception. The guy, as far as the edge rushers, J.C. Jackson, I think, was another one that, got benched before his unfortunate injury. But, yeah, for the most part, these older guys that have signed big deals have played well. Zadarius Smith, Khalil Mack, you got Von Miller. I mean, a lot of these older dudes, Bobo, still got some gas in the tank, to use a truck metaphor. Thought you'd like that. All right, guys. Well, this was
You don't put gas in your diesel tank.
Well, obviously, Bobo. That's I think
It's
anyone.
a given right there. It's a given.
I know times are tough, and you're trying to save a little of the green. Don't do that.
Hey, so y'all have talked about bacon prices being high. I don't do a lot of grocery shopping. Usually, Allie just goes and picks up their Kroger click list order. But I did a little bit of Sam shopping. I got like 3 pounds of bacon for like $13. I feel like that's pretty good.
Too bad it ain't pig.
It was Sam's Choice Club or whatever. Right?
Yeah, and it's fine. It's not the best bacon in the world, but
there's Sam's brand.
yeah, but it's $13 for 3 pounds of bacon.
Yeah, it's great.
So
It's like a Arby's burger started as a liquid.
yeah, that's fine.
Right.
I mean, it gets the job done. I'm not like looking for my bacon to be like high octane.
It's like a step above like the already ready-made stuff.
yeah, sure,
Yeah.
yeah. Look, there is more expensive bacon.
Smithfield. It ain't no Oscar Mayer. I'll say that.
They did have Oscar
I'll say
Mayer.
that. Oscar Mayer is maybe the GOAT for
We
bacon.
are not getting back
Sound
into
off
the bacon
Sound off.
discussion.
What's your favorite bacon brand out there?
John,
Paul?
let us know what your favorite bacon brand
right.
is.
You a syrup and bacon guy? You put syrup on the bacon?
No, I just
It's good stuff.
Oh yeah.
I'm not
sweet.
saying like if it fell into the syrup, I'd be like, oh no, that bacon's ruined.
Ew, it's touching.
Ew, it's so gross. No, yeah, I'll rock with that. I don't care.
Y'all
Just
are-
drown it in whatever. So thank you all for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. We will be back, myself, John Macri, on Thursday night recording the Week 10 preview. I cannot believe it is already Week 10 in the NFL season.
You better promise me no pop culture.
Oh, that's my favorite part of the
No,
show.
no
That's
pop
the-
culture.
That's the only part
You better
that
not.
I look forward to every time I do these shows.
You better not. Real men don't care about pop culture.
Addie has not watched a movie in 15 years, folks, since college. But that is something that we should mention. Don't point your fingers anywhere in front of the cameras.
Y'all vote.
Of course I voted.
Sure.
It's our civic duty.
Hey, if voting change anything, it'd be illegal. I'll say that.
All right, so real quickly here, because we are headed south very fast. Stay tuned. I know that sometimes as we get further into the season, an IDP podcast can feel like, okay, what are we doing here? But we have some great episodes lined up for y'all late in the season. So hopefully we're helping y'all make a push for the playoffs. And if that's the case, my God, Bobo, the lineup that we have to help y'all bring it home in week 16, week 17, that's all I'm going to say. You want to stay plugged in. Stay tuned, even as maybe some of your league mates tune out, because we're going to help you win some rings, Bobo.
It's gonna be cold outside, but it's gonna be hot in here.
Hot as hell. Let's go, boys. And make sure you're subscribed to the IDP show. As Bobo mentioned, we got some stellar content coming y'all's way. But until Thursday with John Macri, for Addie, for Bobo, hope y'all enjoyed this recap episode. And until Thursday, y'all take care. We'll see you soon.
Wave, Josh.
It's a good graph.
Well, thank you.